Join UF Hall of Famer and 14-year NFL vet Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. It's a Thursday edition of Matthews in the Morning, coming to you from the International Diamond Center Studios, locations across the great state of Florida and right there in Celebration Point in the heart of Gator Nation. Also, Comfort Temp Heating and Air is your #1 local HVAC company. Professional and experienced technicians keep you informed throughout the entire project. Visit them at comforttemp.com. Comfort Temp Heating and Air. Comfort is our business. Peace of mind is our promise. We got a good show lined up today. We'll have Brent Beaird, our college football analyst and Heisman Trophy voter, talk a little college football, and then we'll have former Miami Hurricanes wide receiver Lamar Thomas join the program. Second part of the show. Let's go straight to the Titan MR hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. We're joined by, as I said, the guy who I'm curious who he has as his #1 Heisman winner right now. Brent Beaird, what's up, my man?
Hey, brother. Good to be on with you. I had a discussion with another voter about that a few days ago. When we both are kind of in the same boat, frankly, and it's really kind of hard to do any of that until late October, early November, because so much stuff is yet to come. But I will say this, Shane. There are plenty of quarterbacks in the SEC who are going to get a look, aren't they?
Yeah, if I was a voter and it had to be given out today, mine would be John Mateer at Oklahoma.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. True.
Yeah, and he's got another big game this week against Auburn. Brent, first, before we jump into all that, the NCAA, give us the update on this one-time transfer portal window.
Yeah, it's changing again, and it's been ratified by the NCAA portal, transfer portal. There are obviously different committees. They're proposing now a single, not double, meaning January and April, just January, a single 10-day window to enter the portal. Now, what's interesting about this is that December, instead of people visiting and all kinds of activity, December is going to be a dead period as far as recruiting is concerned. So January 5 through 31 would be a recruiting period, except for a few days in there where the AFCA convention meets. And then you've got interesting things here, like the high school recruits now won't be able to receive written revenue share contracts until November the 15th of their senior year. The current date is August the 1st. So that's the last time to negotiate. Now, they still have a lot of things they've got to straighten out with this. What I think really is a pretty good thing is there's a reduction in the available days. I mean, this thing, you remember at one point was like 45 days, postseason 30-day window, and spring 15-day session. So that's the thing we're dealing with. There's still some questions about grad students, about kind of what they want to do with that. They still are working on it, but without getting too complicated with this, that's basically what we're going to have. We're going to have one period for transfers, and that's going to be it. So we will see where that goes, but that is the latest on the transfer portal.
Brent, let me ask you this. Obviously, we've had two coaches fired, Virginia Tech and UCLA. So kids have 30 days to go into the transfer portal. I don't know why anybody would do that. Because if you now let me ask you this. If you put your name in the transfer portal, obviously you can still play for that team, I would assume. But I would think with the way these NIL deals are, if you put your name in the transfer portal, you just gave away all your money,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I mean, that's the way I look at it. So people were like worried, like if something were to happen to Billy, they're like, well, the kids can go in the transfer portal. Why in the hell would you go in the transfer portal and give away money you're being paid to just
yeah,
stay on the team, and then at the end of the season, then you can go in the transfer portal? That's what I
yeah.
don't quite understand.
Well, and the other issue here too is, you can play 4 games and still be redshirted. So that's another important thing about this too. But I mean, your point's a good one, and people need to pay attention to that, and they need to pay attention to the advice they're getting, whether to say or go too.
Yeah, I just don't know when these kids get paid. Like in the NFL, you're paid there's usually 17 weeks in the season with the
Right.
buys, or maybe 18 now because I don't know how many games they play. But you get paid on Tuesday. It's a direct deposit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how these college kids are being paid. So my question, I would love to know this answer. If I'm player X and I decide to go in the transfer portal, are they just cutting off my checks, or are they still obligated to pay you? So I'm gonna try to find that out. That's
Yeah, yeah,
interesting.
that's a great question too. Absolutely.
Um, let's see, Raging Bull or Raging Rat on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plum, says, Shane, why doesn't Florida media call for fans to buy Hard Rock tickets to support the team? Um, well, I don't think it's the media's job to do that. Secondly, each visiting team gets X amount of allotted tickets. I am very confident we bought our full
Yeah.
share and sold them
Mm-hmm.
all. Now, what happens on the secondary market on Ticketmaster, YouTube, not YouTube, but StubHub and all that stuff,
Yeah.
you can't control who sells their tickets.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you'll see a lot of Gator fans there for sure,
Oh yeah.
for sure. Um, Brent, Notre Dame is still ranked as a 0-2 team. Surprise you?
Well, a little bit, but now I think what part of that is they've had 2 close losses to good teams, and that they're also Notre Dame. So I think that's a lot of it. It will look. It will take care of themselves. And the reality is, it's not over for Notre Dame. I mean, if Notre Dame runs the table, they very well. Oh well, I'm going to guess and say they would get in. I mean, if they're 10-2,
Yeah, they'll
Notre
get in.
Dame, I think you could be assured they would get in. So, but yeah, by the way, they're 0-2. First time that's happened since '88. But again, and look, the reality is, except for Southern Cal that's coming up, the only thing they could get Notre Dame would be their strength of schedule, because frankly, Shane, besides Notre Dame, their remaining schedule is not real tough.
Right. Mark says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, won't they sign a new contract with the new team? Yes, but what I'm saying is, let's use a player that, let's just say Virginia Tech. Let's say their wide receiver says, "Okay, my coach just got fired. I'm going to the transfer portal." That's fine. And he signs with the team next year, or somebody takes him out of the transfer portal. Yes, he will sign a new NIL deal, but whatever he was getting from Virginia Tech, I'd be damned if I'm Virginia Tech. If he
Yeah,
goes in the portal, I'm going to
really.
pay him his NIL
Yeah.
money. That's what I'm referring to.
Yes.
So my point is, if your coach is fired, just suck it up and play the rest of the year to get paid, and then go in the portal.
Hmm. Yeah.
Brent, we got some
Absolutely.
good games this week, whether people believe it or not. There's some that really intrigue me.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree with that. I mean, obviously, Florida, Miami, Arkansas. Now, Arkansas doesn't play Memphis in Arkansas. They play at Memphis, so that can make a difference. Memphis is a good football team.
Hmm.
Uh, we'll get into that in a few minutes. Tennessee, UAB, Ole Miss, and Tulane is a better game than people realize.
Yep.
Obviously, Auburn at Oklahoma is going to be a tremendous game. Mississippi State at Northern Illinois. Missouri, at South Carolina, and Vanderbilt at Georgia State. People may have forgot Georgia State beat them last year, so this is a revenge game for Vanderbilt. But you're right, it's a better schedule than people realize.
Yeah, and the one game that I am intrigued by because I picked them to win the Big 12 and make the playoffs are the Utah Utes
Yes,
hosting Texas Tech. Both teams are 3-0, Brent, but the game's starting at like 10 a.m. in the morning.
it is, isn't it? Yes, yeah, that is unusual, but that's a very good point. Yes,
Yeah, because Utah is on Mountain Time, right? So
yeah,
so it would be if it's a noon Eastern, it's a 10 a.m.
hmm
That means your pregame meal is going to be eaten at 6 a.m.
yeah,
Means wake
really.
up calls like 5 a.m. Boy,
hmm
that's gonna be tough, be interesting. So that will be a good game for sure. Some of the more accurate quarterbacks in America is I guess the most accurate is the kid at Ohio State.
Yeah. Julian Sang, who transferred from Alabama. Carson Beck is second. Ty Simpson for Alabama is third. This is like reading off an SEC list. Frankly, Gunnar Stockton is fourth with 81%. Moore's 81%. Lagway is, in spite of some struggles, is 77%. Garrett Nussmeier is 76%. Mateer, who people love, and I get it very much, is 75%. So Alar is 72%. Boy, that these quarterbacks are very accurate so far.
Andy's question for you, Brent, on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law. Brent, have you been impressed with Illinois and Georgia Tech, and what are their chances to make the playoffs?
Yes to both questions, or both teams. Listen, Illinois has got a big game at 7:30. It's actually on NBC and Peacock. Illinois is number 9 in the country. They play at Indiana, number 19. So that's impressive. But look, what's also impressive is Georgia Tech and what they've done. Shane, I don't know if I remember this, if how often this has ever happened since Brent Key has been coach at Georgia Tech in 2022. They've had 12 wins as an underdog. Have you ever heard of that many?
No.
That's pretty unbelievable, isn't it?
It is. It is. You know, they know their style of play. They're going to
They
run the
do.
hell out of the quarterback, and they're going to play sound defense, and they find ways to win close games. They
Yes.
really do. The Pouncey twins, Mike and Marquise, invite you to try the mango martinis at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, handcrafted with the J.F. Hayden liqueurs. Try those flavors or find your favorite at shopjfhaydens.com. All right, Brent, let's go around the SEC. Alabama. I tell you what, somebody told me the other day, I didn't get to see the game. Maybe it was, yeah, Alabama against Wisconsin. I guess
Yes,
Ty Simpson was on fire.
he was.
Only had a few incompletions, and supposedly they were drops.
Listen, Simpson has been terrific so far. He's been very accurate. He's done a good job in leading the team. I mean, this has come along. He's one of these guys that he stayed with the team. He struggled in the beginning, like people do, but I mean now some of this we probably all don't understand this. You would. Ty Simpson ranks second among all quarterbacks in Division I with a 93 grade on intermediate throws. This is something Alabama quarterbacks have struggled with the last couple of years, but I give Simpson a lot of credit. He is very accurate. He can tuck it and run it when he wants to from time to time. But so far so good for Simpson.
Yeah, he's played real well. He's very accurate, good fundamental quarterback. The big one next week. Don't they play Georgia next week?
They do. They play Georgia at Georgia next Saturday night. Listen, the games next week are frankly, incredible around the nation. It will be, and we'll get into that later, but it will be one of the better weeks, frankly, that we will see of the year. I mean, Notre Dame's at Arkansas, Auburn's at A&M, LSU in a huge game at Ole Miss. Even Tennessee, Mississippi State is big. Alabama, Georgia, and Kentucky, South Carolina. And Shane, that's just the SEC games next week. It's a great week across the nation.
Yeah. As we mentioned earlier, this is a big rivalry game with Arkansas and Memphis. Uh, I'm with you. It's kind of nuts that Arkansas is playing in Memphis.
Yeah, it really is. But they are, and they'll have a lot of Arkansas fans who will be there too. Now, Sam Pittman, they're 3-0 in Memphis. Now, all this is not against Memphis. Some of this is at the Liberty Bowl. Pittman was talking earlier in the week to a booster club, and he made the point about Memphis: 24-5 over their last 29 games. Ryan Silverfield has done a nice job. Shane, I don't know if you know him or not, but
I don't.
But he has done a good job at Memphis. And by the way, Green, the Arkansas quarterback, first player in Arkansas history. This is almost hard to believe with some of the quarterbacks I've had, with 300 plus passing yards and 100 plus rushing yards in a game that he had against Ole Miss. He threw for 305 yards and ran for 115. So Green under Bobby Petrino, Shane, has been a good combination.
Yeah, Petrino's going to have a quarterback. There's no question about that. The big one in the SEC to me, just a lot of storylines in this game. Auburn at Oklahoma. Both teams are undefeated.
Yeah, the storylines are almost endless, frankly. So, I mean, in a lot of the, Jackson Arnold, who's at Auburn, who used to be at Oklahoma, that certainly is one of those. I mean, Auburn's played well. They scored on 5 of their first 6 possessions last week. Now, they do have a big injury. Their edge rusher, Amarius Williams, has been hurt. They don't think he will play. That could be a real problem, too. Auburn's defense has allowed 30 pass plays of 10 yards or more in 3 games. So, Shane, do you think Oklahoma will take advantage of that? And the Oklahoma defense, now again, we think about who they played, but Oklahoma's only given up 1 touchdown this season defensively. They're number 4 nationally in scoring and in total defense. So this will be quite a game, I believe, on Saturday.
Yeah, 3:30. So I get to watch a little bit of that before we head to the stadium. So I think the Sooners find a way to win it. Brian's question for you on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mello. Brent, what is your feeling about Napier's future? Do you think he could turn this thing around, or is the writing on the wall?
Well, I mean, look, the chance is there to turn it around. I mean, my goodness, with who they've got left. I mean, just in this stretch, Miami, you got a week off, and then you play Texas at home, and Texas, frankly, is struggling, particularly at quarterback, but we'll get into that in a little bit. And then you go to A&M, who won a humongous game last week. So, I mean, look, the opportunity is there, and then you've got Georgia, then you've got Ole Miss, and you've got Tennessee, my stars, the schedule, and then you've got Florida State. So, I mean, my question is, Shane, is if they're going to do something, how soon do they do it? Do they do it during the off week? Do they let the season just go on and see where it's going to go? There are way too many questions to answer right now.
Very true. CRB on YouTube, brought to you by Quad Plum, says, QB, can you try and let us know what shows you'll be on during the weekend edition of PodUp? Well, I do during football season. On Mondays, I'm with Steve Russell from 12 to 2, recapping the game. And then Coach Spurrier or Steve and I do Inside the Huddle from 12 to 1 on Tuesdays. So that's pretty much what I do outside of my program. People keep asking about Dallas Wilson. He will not be back this week, maybe for the Texas game at the
Yes.
earliest. All right, we talked about Florida's at Miami. Brent, give us your thoughts on this game.
Well, if people haven't seen Miami, I think they will be impressed. Frankly, ESPN Game Day will be at Miami, first time since 2020, by the way, when they played Florida State. Look, this Miami team with Carson Beck is good. They're averaging 481 yards a game and 40 points a game. Look, I know they hadn't played exactly. Some of the schedule is good, some of it's not so good. They've got a strong defense. That's something to keep in mind too. It's really gonna be tough. Frankly, they have not lost to Florida. If I'm looking at this right, Shane, since '85. Now they don't play every year. Well, we got to be up, and frank about that. So Carson Beck's playing well so far. I'm curious, is he playing better or about what you thought he would be doing right now at Miami?
Well, I think I think he's in a system that may suit him a little bit better
Yeah,
with
good
Shannon
point.
Dawson. But it's still early. He's played very well. In the three games. One game was Bethune-Cookman, I think it was. You can just watch that one. But
Yeah,
people talk about he will throw the ball to you, which he has done in the past. We'll see what happens Saturday night. But he just looks more comfortable in this system to
he
me.
is. I agree.
Yeah. Um, had a couple of questions here about the suspension of Jabbar Jalook. Uh, I read about it yesterday. I did not realize that he slapped a kid from LSU,
Yeah.
which I'm surprised it's only a 3-game suspension, quite honestly.
Yeah, he slapped Joel Roberts before the game, suspended. Now, the thing that really gets your attention to me is not only is he suspended by Florida, he's suspended by the SEC. So, I mean, when you see things like this, it's usually from the school. But the thing that got my attention was the SEC got involved with this too.
Yeah, I'm just shocked that it's not like for the year or fireable offense or I don't know. It just surprised me. Once I actually saw what happened, I wasn't really aware of it at first. Brent, South Carolina is traveling to Missouri. Intriguing game. What is the latest status of Lenore Seller? Do you think he plays?
Yeah, it looks like it at this point. I mean, he has practiced this week, and we think he'll be ready to go. At least that's kind of what we hear at this point too. So, Sellers got off to a good start. He got hurt in their last game, which led to them losing, but still. I mean, they're still a pretty good football team, but I look, going to Missouri is not going to be easy. And if people haven't heard, now Missouri's done some things kind of under the radar, and one of the things that would be is Ahmad Hardy is basically the leading rusher in the SEC, and Shane, he has 350 yards after contact.
Mm.
I mean, that's amazing to think about that, frankly. But this is a good club. Missouri is, and but people need to watch for them. That they're one of these teams that people are kind of ignoring right now, but they just keep on winning at this point.
Yeah, another game that I think is going to be outstanding. Ole Miss is hosting Tulane. Tulane's 3-0. They just beat Duke last week. Ole Miss played a transfer quarterback from Ferris State, and he lit it up.
He
But he'll
did.
probably be back on the bench this week.
Yeah, and look, we get that. Austin Simmons earned the quarterback starting job. He did have the ankle injury, but he didn't lose his starting position. But Trinidad Chambliss is who Shane is thinking about. I'm curious if you saw any tape on him, what you thought of him, but I mean, he certainly came in. He did a really good job, frankly. And again, as we said, Austin Simmons will come back, but Chambliss, my Stars, had 350 passing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. Tulane's got a good quarterback themselves from BYU, Jake Ratliff, who's done a nice job also. But again, you've got this Ole Miss coaching staff now with not one but 2 quarterbacks who can work. Boy, how much more dangerous does that make them, Shane?
Yeah, I watched a lot of the highlights of the Chambliss kid. They weren't real sure about him. I mean, he was more of a runner,
Yeah,
but boy, he threw the ball well. He's fundamentally sound, and but that Tulane game is going to be dicey for them because they have LSU next week.
that's right.
So, everybody talks about looking ahead, blah blah blah. Because I think Ole Miss is better than LSU.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, just watching game. Now, I have not seen Ole Miss in person, but seeing LSU in person, I think Ole Miss will win that game if they play up to their potential. Before we get you out of here, Brent, I just want to get your thoughts. A lot of people chimed in on it also about Dabo's comments. It reminds me a lot, not that ever Coach Spurrier took shots at media, like kind of how Dabo did, but sometimes when you're at a place for so long and you continue to win, 10 games, but you may not win championships, fans rub the coach the wrong way.
Yeah, they do. I mean, his quote was, if they want me gone, they can send me on my way. If they're tired of winning, they can send me on my way. I won't stop. I'm 55 years old. I'll go somewhere else and win. I ain't going to the beach. We've won the league 8 of the last 10 years. Is that good? He said with a question mark. So, listen, I mean, you've heard this like I have. I like Dabo. I really do. I think he does a great job in a lot of ways. But there are just times, and again, they've lost 2 games early on, which is not the end of the season. But Dabo kind of goes on a rant from time to time, and he did this week. So that makes folks look at him in a kind of an unusual way, I guess. But, I mean, look, he can still coach. He's done a great job at Clemson. But at the same time, they're not who we thought they were at this point. They've got a great defensive line with potential, but it hasn't lived up to it. Klubnik is a pretty good quarterback. I mean, I think they'll get it together and be better as the season goes along. But look, I mean, that's just kind of the way Dabo is. He'll go on a rant from time to time, and he did this week for sure.
Yeah, he's a piece of work, no question about it. Zach says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Shane, there's a jersey on eBay that's supposed to be your game issue jersey. Y'all used to be Russell Athletic. Is it legit? Send me a picture. Text it to the Titan MR text line. But I may have signed it, but I don't remember. When I was here, we either wore starter jerseys or champion jerseys, I believe. So be careful there. Brent, good stuff as always. Should be a good week of college football, and we'll talk all about it next week, my man.
And next week will be gargantuan, frankly. So,
yes.
Shane, always enjoy it, my friend. Take care.
Thanks for your time. That's Brent Beaird, a college football analyst and Heisman Trophy voter. Join us on the Titan MR hotline. We're going to take a quick time out. When we come back, we'll be joined by former Miami Hurricane wide receiver Lamar Thomas. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the Morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union,
International Diamond Center,
Meldon Law, UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute, JF Hayden Craft Liqueurs, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Los Linderos Tequila. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sporting Goods, Comfort Temp, Electronics World, Florida Victorious, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteak, Celebrate Primary Care, Dowling Sign, Gator Bait Media, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Nest and Wow, MG&A Wealth Management, Watch and listen to us live on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. To become a sponsor, call my man Freddie at 352-284-3733.
Naysayers. Setbacks. Injuries. Life throws a lot of hurdles your way. The key is just keep jumping them.
Coach, you know what always impressed me? How you beat Florida State to win the 1996 national championship.
And I was really impressed with your 06, 08, and 09 Gator teams.
And the way you coached Danny to the Heisman Trophy.
A lot like what you did with Tim Tebow.
You know, you won more SEC championships than you lost home games at the Swamp.
And you had plenty of super games in front of our Gator Nation.
Yeah, there really is something special about the Swamp.
I guess that's why we say about the Swamp, only the Gators get out alive.
To the Swamp and the Gators, with the best beverage served at Spur's Gridiron Grill, 100% agave, Los Landeros tequila, aged in bourbon barrels for a smoother taste.
I think you mean Head Beer Coach 1966 lager, a crisp, light, bodied lager for easy drinking.
Nope. Los Landeros tequila, smooth enough to drink neat, bold enough to elevate a cocktail.
1966 lager, enjoyed on game days in the fall or whenever you need a winning cold brew.
Los Landeros tequila.
1966 lager.
Los Landeros.
1966 lager.
Y'all stop bickering.
Okay, you're both wrong anyway. The best thing Spurrier's Gridiron Grill offers are Jerry's famous chocolate chip cookies.
Welcome back to the International Diamond Center Studios. Gallo Car Wash is locally owned by UF alum and the only car wash that provides NIL opportunities to Gator athletes. Locations are Northwest 13th Street, Williston Road, and coming soon to Jonesville. That's Gallo Car Wash. Back to the Titan and More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tent. We're joined by former Miami Hurricane great wide receiver Lamar Thomas. Good morning, Lamar. How you doing, bud?
I'm great. You know, you got to throw in there. I'm from Gainesville.
Well, we got a lot of questions already on here for you on the this is on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. This gentleman, John, says Thomas has never wavered on his hatred of the Gators.
Well, we talked about that last night. Thank you for coming on my show, the Lamar Thomas show last night. Shane, I had to make a decision. You were a Mississippi guy. Your parents went to Ole Miss.
Yeah.
But you didn't go there. You have to make a decision based upon what's best for you as a young adult. And I made a decision, and I had to stick with it. Again, Gator fans, I was a huge Gator fan growing up. There's no doubt about it. I went to the games. I even threw ice at Jimmy Johnson when Miami came to town. And I hit him in that hair that didn't move. So I was a Gator fan, but I had to make a business decision based upon what was best for myself, not even my family, but was best for myself. And I saw Emmitt Smith 3 weeks ago at Derrick Brooks' golf tournament, and he walked up to me and said, "You made the right decision." They didn't have a Shane Matthews then. They didn't have a quarterback, and it was Emmitt left and Emmitt right.
Yeah, because you and I came out the same year.
Yes.
And I'm trying to remember, who was the quarterback at that time? Was it Steve Walsh, the quarterback at Miami?
Steve Walsh. Well, I didn't play, but Steve Walsh was
right. But I'm talking about
and,
like when you were
yes.
deciding where to go. Was it Steve Walsh?
Yeah, Steve Walsh and Craig Erickson. Remember Craig
okay.
and Craig and Emmitt came out the same year. I actually watched them play against each other at Florida Field. Cardinal Newman against Pensacola Escambia. And that time, either one of them made the playoff, and they just made a bowl game for them. So I got to watch those teams.
Yeah, and Gino and I are the same age.
Yes.
So, but we're the same age too. So, but yeah, you made the right choice, no question about that. Before we start talking about this game, let's go back to your career a lot. Mm-hmm. You know, you were there in the heyday of Miami, playing in the Orange Bowl. Mm-hmm. Just you're at a lot of their games. You go to Hard Rock. is there any, I mean, there's really no comparison between the old nasty Orange Bowl and Hard Rock. Do you think that's hurt Miami over the years?
I think it has. I mean, it really is no comparison. It was ours. It was our home. Uh, that environment only gets like that. A Notre Dame game, a Florida State game, maybe a UF game. Maybe if UF had taken care of the business and won some games this year, it would have been an even more crazy environment. But this year, Miami has 8 home games. That's what the schedule says. And I guarantee you those other games, other than the Florida game, it's going to be crazy trying to get people to come to the game. This is South Florida. It's not like Gainesville. It's not like Lexington. It's not a town. This is a city that breathes all the time. And to get people to come out to games is like pulling teeth. And that Orange Bowl was an environment that fans love to come to. This is more I want to say business side of it. I mean, the place where we played Formula One, they have a track. You'll see the track when you get there, Shane. There's a track. There's a tennis place. You'll see the little sky things like when you go skiing, the little sky lifts.
Mm-hmm.
They have the little lifts. I mean, it's like an amusement park. This and the prices, they ain't Gainesville prices. I tell you that. You're gonna pay.
I haven't been to Hard Rock or whatever it was called since the Gators played Oklahoma and beat them for the national title, and that was what, in 08?
Oh,
That's
it's a
the last
different
time I was
stadium
there.
now. It's an entirely different stadium. Hell, they even had a club in that thing at one point. So
Wow. We got a text here on the Titan MR text line from James and Wilson. He says, Lamar, you come from a great family of great athletes. Tell us about them and who's the best athlete in the family.
thank you, James. Yeah, my dad, Ron and Tar Thomas, did an outstanding job. 4 athletes in the house, all got scholarships. I was the first one, Darren, DJ as they call him. He was a great player there at Buchholz High School. Went on to play basketball. No, not basketball, baseball and football in college. And Eric was a hell of a pitcher who's a golf pro there at Ironwood. And then Jessica, man, great golfer, but professional basketball player who's played damn near everywhere overseas, making a name for herself, earning a lot of cash.
She's still playing?
Oh man, she is killing it. She's awesome. I mean, you know what's crazy? I go home now and I'm not known as Lamar Thomas. I'm known as either Eric's brother or DJ's brother or Eric or Jessica's brother. Hey, aren't you Jessica's brother? Oh, yeah, but they don't know me. So, but the fact that my parents did an awesome job of raising us and keeping us grounded and keeping us in sports, because that was a way for us to get ahead in life. And I appreciate that.
Tony says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, Eric is my favorite Thomas. Tony's he's a big golfer and he plays in a lot of the charity events out at Ironwood.
Hey, he hits that ball a long way. You see, I got the Buchholz golf hat on.
Yeah.
Repping my Bobcats now.
Bobcats.
Go with them more.
Chris says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. I got to meet Lamar when I was a younger back in the day when I was the bat boy for the Bucks versus Bombers celebrity softball game. He's the nicest dude ever. He raced all the kids after the game and smoked us.
I had a little speed back then, but hey, I've always just tried to be, I'm a small town guy. I try to portray myself as some guy from, this big old city of Miami, but, Ocala, Gainesville, the roots are still there. And, I couldn't ask for a better place to grow up in those 2 cities to, just learn about life. As we well know, these bigger cities, man, they can eat you up. But, when I was raised to be grounded and things like that, and, I was a real quiet kid. How about that, Shane? I bet you didn't know that. I was a quiet kid.
I did not know that.
May Isler, who was my principal at Buchholz High School, she put me in communications courses. And it took off from there. I found myself. When I get in front of that camera, I turn into LT, baby.
MSRK on YouTube, brought to you by Quad Punches. How many national titles did you win at Miami? And how much money, this is another question for someone else, how much money do you think you would make in NIL today?
I won 2 national championships, and I played for 3. We lost, I think, maybe 4 games my whole college career. Never lost at home, so it was awesome. Got to play football, basketball, and ran track. I was the Big East high jump champion in track, so had a great college career. I don't know, Shane. We talk about it's just like your guys probably when you get together, you talk about the NIL, and someone says, "Man, I wish we were playing then," right? For the NIL money. I always throw in the fact, no, you don't, because back then there were cameras. And the stuff that we probably did, you don't need to be, that no one needs to be known about. So we'll stay in our era. I will stay in that era and hide all the crazy stuff and all the fun that we had as college students that probably can't have today. They're on the magnifying eye. And as you well see, when a guy gets paid a lot of money, when he makes mistakes, and I'm sure that's what's going on right now at your place, those people are on him. And, you're a professional in a way. So what do we do to professionals? You're getting paid a lot of money. You got to play well. And if you don't, it gives people the right to say, hey, you suck.
Yeah, very true. Very, very true. You boys were being paid down there anyway before NIL.
No, man.
I'm just joking. Hey, let's talk about this team that Miami has. And you were a teammate of Mario Cristobal. I had Gino on. He was, obviously a teammate as well. Has it gone as well? I mean, were you a guy that was excited when y'all hired Mario a few years ago, or did you have your doubts? Has he become the head coach that Lamar and some of the former players thought he would be?
Well, I was very excited about Mario being the coach because, here's a guy who played there. So he understands what it took and what he saw it every day in practice, what it took to be a Hurricane day in and day out. So for him to have lived it, we're excited about it. And, it's taken some time. He's had his ups and downs, hiring guys, firing guys, getting the right fit on staff. Now being able to the NIL thing, being able to manage a team, put a team together, which I think his tutelage in the SEC has helped him be able to manage this team because he's put this team together. And we talked about this last night, Shane. This is an SEC type team. It's built in the trenches. They got big guys that can run, and they're athletic on both sides of the ball, whether O-line or D-line. And that's what the SEC is about. You can find skilled guys in every division, but what separates the SEC, I think, because I coached in the SEC, what I saw week in and week out was big guys that can run and move, and they're athletic, and they have great agility. And when you play in a team in other conferences, they don't have that. They don't have as many. Put it that way, they don't have as many.
I agree with that 100%. Christopher's question for you on Facebook Live. This is on YouTube, brought to you by Claude Plummet. Ask Lamar, does he still own the school record for receptions in a year?
No, I actually never had it for receptions in a year. I was the leading receiver. I broke Michael Irvin's record for a career. But hey, man, now guys are playing 6 and 7 years, catching bubble screens. That record's been gone. They got guys with this whole COVID thing. You got Restrepo just broke the school record that had been broken maybe 3 or 4 times, and I think he played 6 years. Yeah. It is what it is. I mean, that's just the way the game is.
Do y'all still have that tight end that played like 9 years? Is he playing this year?
I think he finally, I think he went ahead and became a lawyer or doctor because he was in school a long damn time. He'd already done his internship.
Here's a text on the Titan of our text line from, James. He says, Lamar, I've never seen a wide receiver wear number 36. Please tell us about that.
Well,
it's a terrible number, by the way.
Yeah, it was. Michael Irvin wore 47.
That's a terrible number too.
He told a story about Jimmy Johnson. He went to Jimmy and said, "Hey, Coach, I really want number 7." And Jimmy said something about, Mike, when I see you, I see a 747 landing in the end zone, and it turned Mike on, and Mike was like, "Yeah, that's right. He kept the number." Well, when I get to I get 36, Benny Blade's number, and I'm like, "What the hell?" So I said to Coach Johnson, "Hey, man, can I change it to number 1? That's what I wore in high school." He said, "Yeah, sure." I said, "Cool." He said, "But you got to take it from a senior who was a kicker." And I'm like,
A kicker.
He's a kicker. Venice, I think that was his name. And he said, but you got to understand, the other seniors aren't going to like that too much. So I said, all right, well, I'll wait until after my freshman year, my redshirt year, because I redshirted. Well, along those lines, it always comes down to a woman somehow, some way. And I was in the club one night, and I'd been chasing this one girl for a long time at Strawberries, and I finally got a chance to talk to her, and she was going to come back to the dorm room with me. And her friend came up and said, "Who is this?" And she's like, "Oh, he plays for Miami." And the girl looked at me, and she looked me up and down because she saw I was very thin. And she said, "You play for Miami?" I said, "Yeah, I play for Miami." She said, "What's your number?" And I said, 36.
You don't play for Miami.
She said, "Girl, he's lying. That's Benny Blade's number." And she snatched the girl, and I never got to take her home. So I said at that point, I'm going to make that number into my number. I don't give a damn. And I kept it, and the rest was history. I mean, it was an ugly number, but I made it into my own number. And it's funny, as a college coach, I used to get guys complaining about numbers. I said, and they would say, "Coach, man, I want this number." I said, "Hey, you're asking the wrong guy. I wore 36. It don't matter to me. You make the number what it is."
You ain't got to worry about another wide receiver ever wearing number 36 at Miami.
Hey, it started a trend for a little bit now.
Right, but I'm talking about in today's world, there ain't no way.
No, they're not doing that. I think a walk-on's wearing that crap now.
Yeah.
He has never touched the field.
Buck's question on Facebook Live brought to you by Mellon says, Lamar, who is the best Miami athlete of all time?
Ooh. That's like asking you who's the best Florida athlete. I mean, it's so many to choose from. I mean, I played alongside guys that were great athletes. Horace Copeland might have been one of the greatest athletes I've ever seen up close. You know, he could run, he could jump. Hell, he went to a track meet and won the Big East meet. He won the 100. He won the 200. He tied me in the high jump. He qualified for the Olympic trials in the long jump, and he anchored the 4x4. I mean, the guy was just a freak. There was so many great athletes at Miami during the time, and guys playing all different sports. There were guys playing baseball, football. It was just it was a great time. But I got to go with the guy I saw on a day-to-day basis, who actually got to be my teammate at Tampa Bay, Horace Copeland, as one of the greatest athletes I've ever seen.
Good answer there. Andy's question on Facebook Live brought to you by Mel Law. Lamar, what was the experience like playing with Dan Marino?
Man, that was it was awesome. I played with Gino. Gino won the Heisman, and I always call him my QB1. But man, playing with Mr. Marino, what an experience. For the first 2 weeks I was there, I called him Mr. Marino. I said, Mr. Marino, because you grow up watching the guy. You
Right.
just, I mean, you're in awe. And finally he said, "Cut the crap. It's Dano." And we caught him on the latter part of his career where he wasn't, the same as far as what he was, but man, he still had that velocity. He still knew how to throw the ball and put it in places as a receiver that you felt comfortable going after it. And that says something, Shane. A lot of guys just throw the ball. He knew where to put it. I caught a pass in the playoffs against Buffalo. He threw that ball in between two defenders. It hit me in the stomach, knocked the wind out of me, Shane. I mean, I cleared the defender, and as soon as I turned, it was there, and I had no choice but to catch it and fall into the end zone. And he told me, he said, "Hey, man, way to make me look good." Now, see, that is the old Dano, man. He at that point in time, he was saying, "Hey, you make that play, I'm gonna get the glory, but I'll come back to you."
Yeah.
I mean, it was just phenomenal to play with him. What a great guy. During Christmas time, man, everybody had stuff for him to sign, and he signed it for us.
That's awesome. Florida victorious, proud NIL partner of Florida Gators, joined today to help make Florida victorious. A few more minutes with Hurricane great Lamar Thomas on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Town. All right, looking at this game, this team that Mario, as you said, built kind of an SEC team.
Mm-hmm.
He has an SEC quarterback. What have you seen? What have you liked out of Carson Beck?
He's a game manager, Shane. He's a true game manager. He is a guy that, if you allow him to stand back there with a clean pocket, he's going to kill you.
Yeah.
You know, USF, when I watched USF play against Florida, they gave Lagway clean pocket. I think they only pressured him 3 times, and he couldn't complete the balls. You know, obviously, Lagway came into the year one of the top deep throwers in the nation, and USF kind of took that away from him. Well, they couldn't do that against the game manager, you know, because this guy is going to kill you. Now, he did throw 1 interception. He actually threw 2 interceptions against USF, and that one was a pressure. They pressured him, and that was one of his looking back on his Georgia career, that was one of the things that he was negative in as throwing the ball when they put pressure on him. And he also had one where the spacing was wrong with 2 wide receivers and the guy tipped it and they caught it. But, you know, what I've seen is what I thought. You know, we paid a lot of money for the guy, and so far, I think he's earned about $2.8 million from me. You know, he's a $4 million guy. I got to see him beat Florida. But so far, so good. I think the team plays around him. They love what he's been able to do since he's gotten there. I don't see any. I'm on the sideline and I'm listening, and it sounds like they're all on the same page and they're all in it together. That's what was worried about with this whole NIL thing. When guys come to your team and they're high priced, do they fit in? Do they fit into your culture? Will other guys get jealous of what they're getting paid? You know, and it can destroy your team from the inside out. So far, so good. I just think that, you know, it's going to be yet to be seen how he handles pressure and how our receivers handle one-on-one coverage, having a guy that can go up and make those plays when they stack the box, take the run away from you, and add pressure.
All right, last question before we get you out of here. This game Saturday night, you know, Florida, Miami you and I never played one another.
No.
They just don't play very often. No. Do the Miami people, I asked Gino this, I want to get your answer. Do Miami fans hate Florida more or Florida State more?
Florida. And it's weird. We didn't play each other, but I think so the Miami fans have this hatred towards Florida because they took Miami off the schedule. Mm-hmm. And so Florida State there's more of a respect thing, you know, because it's always we've always said the championships always used to go through Miami and Florida State. And you know, I unfortunately, like you said, we never got a chance to play. I thought it would have been good for college, but at the same time, I do understand, and I didn't understand until I started coaching in the SEC. It is a grind every week. It is a true grind every week. And I understand why they took us off the schedule. You're playing not only the grind of that conference, but you're playing Florida State and Miami. We got to take one away. Yeah. I don't blame them now. I understand it. And now, I think I found this out from you last night. They're going to add another game, 9 games. That is it's a true grind, man. It is week in, week out. And no longer, Shane, is Vanderbilt the sucky team.
Yeah, exactly.
It used to be the win. You know, it used to be the week off. Not anymore. So there are no gimmies in the SEC anymore. Kentucky, the only team you guys have on the schedule left that isn't ranked, they lost to Ole Miss by 7 points. And if they would have had a quarterback throw the ball, they probably should have won the game.
Right.
So there's no gimme. So, you know, again, I think it all boils down to we don't get to play. It's always what else. And, you know, back in the days, you guys had some good teams and we didn't get a chance to play. But we respect Florida State. I don't think we give too much credence to the University of Florida.
Makes sense. Lamar, good stuff as always. Let everybody know how they can listen to your show if they want to listen to Miami Hurricane Talk.
Well, it's the Lamar Thomas Show on YouTube, and it's on every Wednesday night live, 8 to 10, but you can catch it on YouTube. And, hey, I'm just happy to be here, man. Hey, Gainesville, I love you. I know you got ill feelings towards me, but I still got love for you. And most importantly, go Bobcats. How about that, baby? And Ironwood. Go out to Ironwood. Check out my brother Eric. Get a golf lesson.
There you go. Lamar, good stuff, buddy. Appreciate your
Thanks,
time.
Shane.
We'll see you Saturday at the game.
See you at the game, Shane.
That's Miami great Lamar Thomas. Join us on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort 2. Ruse Ogre State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit Ogre